What's going on, gamers? Here we are back with some more Outriders, and today I'm going to be going over the full build guide for my new Acari build, the Double Fun Thermal Bomb build. So if that interests you, stay tuned, that's coming up next. Welcome back all you guys and girls, as always for all things Xbox, for all things gaming. Then why not hit that subscribe and bell icon? Now I'll bring you all the latest and greatest in gaming, and of course a lot more Outriders along the way. But for today, I've finally managed to get my hands on this deathshield shotgun, and I must admit, it's well worth the wait. This is, I would say hands down, the most powerful gun in the game, due to its tier 3 mod. It's just an absolute beast. Now I'm absolutely awful with shotguns. I've got to get used to them again. I'm not used to using them on my pyromancer at all. I miss shots, I miss everything using these. I've got to get used to it again, but even so, the build and the gun, it carries you through these gold ct15s. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to chuck a little bit of footage on, and that was of my first ct15 with this build, and that was a boomtown. Now it was a bit sketchy, it was a bit ropey, I wasn't used to the build, and as such we just kind of come in a little bit clinch at the end, but we did manage to get gold, so it shows you that this is definitely a viable build, and you'll be able to shave off seconds if not minutes off the time once you've got everything down. Right, so hopefully that showed you the kind of playstyle that we're going with this build, and hopefully it's something you'll enjoy. If it is, let's crack on with it. Right, so the main thing you're going to need will be just over here, and that's the deathshield. This shotgun is second to none. It's mainly due to its tier 3 mod. It is absolutely amazing. It gives you weapon leech, healing received and close range damage. But like I said, the main thing on it is fortress. Receive up to 43% damage bonus based on your armour. Now I'm not exactly sure how much armour you need. I know I've definitely got that 43% bonus, so I think pretty much as long as you're at endgame you will be getting that 43% bonus. Someone told me it's over 20k armour, which is just a guaranteed. So as long as that's right, you will be getting the 43% damage bonus, and you'll definitely notice it in all of your builds, especially the anomaly ones I find. And just down the bottom, Shadow Comet. Shots call down a comet, dealing 210,003 damage to enemies within a 3.5 meter radius with a 3 second cooldown. Just straight up good in pretty much every build, and it allows you to get a little bit of range on this deathshield shotgun if you're doing kind of a medium shot, if you want to clear some ads, or you're just trying to get a bit of extra damage on an area. Just down here, I really like this gun, but I must admit I wish I could have got another deathshield shotgun. I would chuck that on the bottom other than the Shadow Comet, or if I could, I'd put a funeral pyro in here, and that way you'd kind of have exactly the same function as the top one right there with the deathshield. But either so, this is still a great gun, and that's the Imploder. Double gun standard variant, weapon life leech, healing received and close range damage. So basically exactly the same as the deathshield. It comes with a really good tier 3 mod, and that's deadly disturbance. Critical shots activate an unstable anomaly effect in your enemy, causing him to explode, dealing 222,927 damage to other enemies within a 5 meter radius with a 3-second cooldown. Really good if you needed to switch to this because you were out of ammo, which you probably shouldn't be. You should try to keep your ammo up at all times on the shotgun. If you can, just go single shot just to proc the effects and you'll be golden. But if you're not and you find yourself running out, this gun still does the business. Now obviously down the bottom we've got Shadow Comet again, so if you did want to and you were taking a shot with your actual shotty and your skills were down and you wanted to gun juggle, switch to this one, get another comet on everything, you very well could. It would definitely save you some time once you're used to the build and playstyle. Now just down here, this is just a new gun I've got. I've chucked it in slot. You will not be switching to your handgun. Chuck whatever you want in there just to make yourself look a bit pretty. You might want a Torment and Agony to put on the side of your kind of character. But yeah, now we're going over to the gear set. And obviously from the looks of it you can tell we're using 3 pieces of the Acari. We're going to be using the head, we're going to be using the chest, and we're going to be using the lower armour. Now the head comes with anomaly power, skills life leech and status power. This keeps you alive. It really does keep you alive. You are going to have an absolute ridiculous amount of anomaly power, which you can see up the top there, 170k to start with, and the skills life leech just keeps your health regening due to the burn effect as such. Status power again, really good, helps the burn, helps you get extra damage, helps things kind of disintegrate, really nice. And the tier 3 mod is essential. Heatwave increases the width of the firewall with the fire tsunami mod. It basically means you're going to be capturing a lot more people in amongst your firewall, and that's obviously going to proc the 3 piece, which is going to mean you're going to get a lot more anomaly power. Just down the bottom, and we've given it an extra one more time to be using the heatwave. Really essential. You need at least 2. If you could have 3 that would be perfect, but 2 in this build is still really amazing. Just down here and we've got anomaly power, skills life leech and cooldown reduction. The tier 3 mod, and I love this mod, it marks everything in the area, it will give you extra damage every time you hit them, it will keep you alive when they die and you'll be able to use it constantly. And that's detonator. Overheat decreases the skills cooldown by 50%. And just down the bottom, fire frenzy. Thermal bomb. The skill can be activated one more time before triggering the cooldown. Again, like I said, this is going to be a really low cooldown, really high skill power, really massive uses of the skill power. You're just going to be proccing them constantly. So having 2 thermal bombs is definitely needed in this build. Just over here, and we've got anomaly power, skills life leech and cooldown reduction. It comes with anomaly echo, grants 3,276 firepower and 11,484 anomaly power. Basically it procs every 15 seconds. You may as well say that's a guaranteed uptime, as you're going to be using your skills way before that 15-second mark. It's just going to boost your anomaly power even more. And then down the bottom I've chucked on branded. Thermal bomb. Enemies afflicted by the skill receive 40% more damage. This, I have a guide out for this. I've literally said from the start a few weeks back, it's probably one of the strongest mods in the game, and it is a game changer for group and for solo play. It just melts everything. Now that's 40% extra damage. However, apply 2 of the thermal bombs to one person, say for example an elite, or of course a big end boss character or anything such as that. This will give you a stacked amount of 80%, meaning you're going to hit like an absolute truck. Now the 3-piece bonus for the Acari set is every enemy damaged by heatwave grants 50% anomaly power bonus for 10 seconds. Straight up, just the most overpowered, best anomaly kind of thing in the game. It will boost your damage, it will make your anomaly power go through the roof. I've seen upwards of 500k. You will just absolutely melt things like butter, and this is definitely the gear set for the pyro if you want those really big hits by kind of capturing all of the enemies in your heatwave. Hit as many as you can, boost your anomaly power, and then try and pull off a big move afterwards and absolutely decimate your foes. Just down here we've got the clairvoyant gloves. These are just the gloves that I wanted at the time. I don't know if you'll be able to get different gloves with these stats. Almost definitely you will be able to if you're lucky. I've gone with anomaly power, cooldown reduction and status power. It just works absolutely amazing in this build. A little bit extra really helps the build out a lot. On this I've got burnt out, heat wave, damaged enemies take 25% more damage for 8 seconds. Again, essential in this build. You're going to be heat waving constantly, you're going to be generating anomaly power, you're going to be making sure they take a lot of extra damage. And this 2 stacks, which I didn't know from the start to be perfectly honest, but this stacks as well. If you have one of them it's 25%, 2 of them is 50, and if you had 3 it'll be 75. But for this build we're just going with the 2 heat waves. And secondly, just down the bottom here, Bullet King. Deals 20% more damage against enemies afflicted by burn. Everything is going to be affected by burn constantly. It's really, really good. Well worth putting on any build for the pyromancer. Now finally, this one right here is going to have anomaly power, skills life leech and cooldown reduction. But the main thing we've chucked on it, and one of the things that makes it so good for clearing in both co-op and single player, is double fun. Thermal Bomb. The skill can affect 2 targets. It basically means you're going to be proccing 2 different thermal bombs, but when you do, they will go off in 2 different directions for each one, meaning 4 targets will be hit by it. As long as you can do enough damage within that time, all 4 of those will explode, and it will just absolutely massacre everything in sight. It's probably the most fun thing that you can put on the thermal bombs. It is ridiculously good, and for ad clearing and room clearing, there is nothing better than this, I find. Also, another thing, every one of those will also be affected by the 40% extra damage, so everyone in your team will definitely thank you for having this on, and you yourself will be able to pop them a lot easier with overheat and such. And finally, just down the bottom here, Emergency Stance. Attain golem protective effect for 4 seconds whenever your health drops below 30% with a 10-second cooldown. Now this is hands down the most broken, most overpowered, best, absolute amazing tier 2, probably one of the best, better than all the tier 3 stuff at the moment. It's slightly bugged out but in a good way, and it just means that you're pretty much going to have that golem effect almost permanently. Trust me, chuck this on your build, it will keep you alive. Right, so over to the skills. Now funnily enough, you think you would be spamming your heat wave and making sure that you've got everything on fire first. Nope. Chuck it straight over to here. When you can, when this is up, mark everything around you. It's just going to mean that they get hit harder from the start. It's going to mean that they take a lot more damage. It's going to mean that everything is marked, and when it dies you get health back. This will keep you alive, and this will be doing an absolute vast amount of damage, a lot more than you'd actually think. Just over here is your heat wave. This is where you're going to be generating your anomaly power from, and what you want to do is capture as many people in those 2 heat waves as you can. If you see 5 people running towards you, you basically spam this and capture all 5 of them. If there's another 5 or 6 or 7 people running from another area, turn around, turn to your left, spam it again, get them as well, and you'll have that massive boost in anomaly damage. Then when you proc your overheat, you are absolutely going to nuke everything. And obviously if you've used this over here, your thermal bombs, they will be taking either 40 or 80% extra damage on top of that. Then they are going to pop in an explosion, in an area effect, and absolutely take everything out. In some of the late ct15s, 15s, when this build comes together, when this pulls off and everything is stacked together, you can clear absolute rooms with this. It is ridiculous fun. And honestly, for group play and even for single play, I think this is one of the best and most fun builds I've seen. And obviously if you have a little look down there, 248,178 damage is how much the explosion does. What you want to make sure above all else is that you are killing the enemies that are affected with this bomb, otherwise it kind of goes to waste. You want to be generating that really big hit, and of course that big hit will be even higher than 248,000 because it will add on the deathshield damage, and it will add on whatever you've got in your skill tree and your anomaly power. You can get upwards of 1.5 million damage easy, and it's just ridiculous fun to watch. Now if you have a little look down here, these are really low cooldowns, ridiculously low cooldowns, and it's what makes this build so fun and viable for late game. 7.9, 4.6 and 6 seconds respectively for all of these skills. Really nice. If you like using skills, this may well be the one for you. Now finally, I've gone pretty much all Tempest. You get the most bang for your buck, you stay alive with this build anyway, you get a lot of damage, you get a lot of big hits, and you get some fast clears. So I've gone with this build. We've got just over here extra anomaly power by 6%. You'll want to pick up as much as you can, chuck on as high anomaly power as possible. This is the way forward. Just over here, and we've got a cooldown for all of our explosive skills by 15%. Just up here, and increase skill damage by 8% against marked enemies. Like I said, spam that overheat, make sure everything's marked, they'll take extra damage, they'll die quicker, they will die and just give you lots of health back. It's just a great all around thing to have. Pick up all of these whenever you can. Just over here, and you've got another 6% anomaly power. Just here we've got 5% on weapon damage and anomaly power. An extra 10% your cooldowns. Like I said, we were going with cooldown and damage. This one's definitely essential. Just over here, and I've put enemies afflicted with burn receive 5% more damage. I found this to be best for clearing. If you think it's going to be this one over here, increase damage by 20% against enemies below 30% of health. So say for example, if you're in a multiplayer and you find their health has boosted a lot for the bigger baddies and elites, you may want to swap it over to this one rather than this one. For single player, definitely this one seems to be the faster one to me because everything's already kind of popping. Just over here, and again we've got 8% against marked enemies. Over to the Archmage, another 6% for your anomaly power, another 5 and another 5 for your weapon and anomaly power. Just over here's another 6, and you want to bop down to with fire and anomaly. This one right here basically means you're going to have 12% extra anomaly power at all times because you're going to be using those skills constantly. You're going to be using them more than every 10 seconds. You might as well say it's going to boost your anomaly power constant. Just up here, I've gone with increase your skills leech by 6%. With this, if you're struggling in the area effects, so say for example skill damage from a boss, say a brood queen, a brood mother are they called? I think brood mother, anything like that that does the big skill damage underneath you, then you could very well go down here if you need to, and that will give you your resistance. I found that this one's keeping me alive just fine, so I've gone with that for the moment. Just over here, increase your anomaly power by 6%. Now I still have a bit of jerkiness about my frame sometimes, I still have a few pauses. I also have a son that decided to spill kind of orange juice on my controller, so the analogs do not work perfectly. So Phoenix Nestling, this one right here will just basically mean you've got an extra life in case anything goes wrong, which with me it can often do. Just over here, and we've got increased resistance piercing by 15%. Increased damage against elites by 10%. Always essential in any build you can put it on. Anything where you can hit the bigger enemies a little bit harder, grab it whenever it's possible. Finally, just over here, we've got an extra 8% against marked targets, the extra cooldown, and finally this will give you your big hits on the bombs, and of course the overheat, increase explosive skill base damage by 30%. If you're working on this skill tree, if you're going explosive, you pretty much always want to get to this as fast as you can and make sure that you've picked it up just to get that extra boomstick, extra damage. It's well worth having in every Tempest build, I believe. Right, all you guys and girls, so hopefully I didn't bore you too much, hopefully it didn't take too long, and hopefully you'll be able to put this build together. Now some of those are off of other pieces of armour, so if you're not sure what to do, what you'll need to do will be mainly to get the Reforged set as well. That will be the mods that you need to pick up to put onto this, which is the double fun and the thermal bomb 40% extra damage. Well, you'll get them off of the chest and the headpiece I believe, but it is well worth getting to chuck on this build to make it absolutely devastating and a really fun build to play. But as always, like I said, hope you've enjoyed. Take care. I'll see you on next day.